Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to BWTM Sports Gaming. So, before I begin this video and this broadcast, I want to make something very clear. No official announcement, no, nothing to confirm as yet. Why am I hearing myself? Sorry. Yeah, that's it. Nothing to confirm as yet. However, something I want you all to think about for a second. Now, remember when I spoke to you before, and I did the video on disturbing news about Fury versus Joshua, and that story came out a while ago that I did, and since that story, there has been nothing to deny or to ridicule what I've said. I've been saying for the longest while, asking the question if Wilder really is a crazy man. And I've been hearing stuff about, we've all been hearing site fee and Tyson's in with is in with a fight and Joshua's ready, and we've been looking at different venues. We've heard John Fury say nothing's been signed. We've heard Frank Warren say nothing's been signed. With Bob Arum come out and saying stuff now, even hinting at Deontay Wilder fight, and Hearn saying, well, at this point in negotiations, he's never known as a fight to fall through, but he's never dealt with a fight of this magnitude. Before I go any further to that, Tyson Fury, as I said, would jump in and defend Billy Joe Saunders. It is of no surprise. But Tyson has always had that about Matchroom, and Tyson's a student of the game, and he knows what's up. That's why he was with Frank Warren. Remember when he had that comeback and Eddie was sniffing around Fury and Fury went to Frank Warren? Remember that? He didn't basically go with Eddie when there was a chance to work with Eddie. He didn't, and he knows damn well why as well. And people say, "Oh, you're a hater of Matchroom." Well, it's not. I'm a hater of Matchroom. I just don't. I've got time for the BS. I'm not saying Frank Warren's a Satan or anything, but what I am saying is that when a guy consistently shows you his colours of being non-trustworthy, disloyal, and will throw anybody under the bus for a bob. I've said this numerous times, and we've seen it numerous of times, and now we're seeing it with Billy Joe Saunders. And I go back to what I said when Billy Joe Saunders signed with Eddie. I said this was coming. I said the same thing about Josh Warrington when Josh Warrington signed with Matchroom. But we saw what happened there. So, and now Warrington's talking about having a rematch against the guy that duffed him up. Why? But anyway, my point is this. Why do I believe that this Wilder fight could potentially happen? Well, it's interesting. If you go and look at Deontay Wilder's post, now they're still through the arbitration at the moment. And from what I've seen on that post, there's a picture of Malik Scott doing his best impersonation of Mr. T, jokes aside. But the thing I saw that raised an eyebrow was where it said, Gazar, or basically what it means, an eye for an eye. So revenge. You've done it to me, I'm going to do it to you now. Now, you can't be talking about an eye for an eye in a post when you're going back into training, when the only person you've got a grudge with and you want revenge with is Tyson Fury. Why would you post an eye for an eye in your latest post, on your post about you coming back and training? Why would you post that? You would be going an eye for an eye for Dillian White, because Dillian White said what he said. He's not really wronged Wilder. It's not Andy Ruiz. We know Ruiz is fighting Areola. It's not, what's his name? Charles Martin, because Charles Martin's not done him any wrong. So an eye for an eye. Who possibly could be an eye for an eye? Tyson Fury, who's currently in America training. He could be. He could be cloud chasing, but he's gone for an eye for a while. And the only person who seems consistent in all this at the moment is Deontay Wilder. And I'll explain why. Because if he's the crazy man, if he's the madman, if he's the guy that's lost it, if he is the guy that's got not a leg to stand on, why is he still in arbitration and we're going into May? Something doesn't compute. And even, I think Tyson himself said he's been paying off Deontay Wilder. And it wasn't, from what I said in a previous video, it was not Tyson, but it was Bob Arum that cancelled those fights, cancelled the fight with Fury and wanted it the following year when the fight was scheduled for December, I believe. And they knocked it on the head because of Bob Arum, not Tyson Fury. So all these people have been jumping around saying, oh, the fight's been signed, the fight's been signed. We still haven't had an announcement. And Deontay Wilder is still at that damn table with the arbitration. And now Bob Arum's talking about the possibility of Deontay Wilder being back on the table again. Was he ever off the table? Nobody is quite for sure. And you can't trust Hearn. You just can't trust him. Because it's not just him who's involved at the table. He represents Anthony Joshua. And here's something else. The fight will go ahead regardless if Joshua has McCracken in his corner or not. So in the biggest fight of your guy's career, the biggest fight of your guy's career, you would rather, or you would sacrifice that for a little bit more money so that Joshua can fight Fury. That says it all, doesn't it? McCracken, we know is going to be at the Olympics. We know that. So how does that how does logistics work? McCracken was there for Joshua in that rematch against Andy Ruiz. Why would he suddenly abandon McCracken in the biggest fight of his career for the undisputed? Why? And all these people who keep saying Wilder's a madman, Wilder's crazy, ask every single one of them that you talk to, why is the man still at the table? If he's so mad, and if he hasn't got a case, when the contract is legally binding, you can't just knock it on the head. You can't just knock it on the head. So like I said, Wilder does have some serious clout again. And we're talking about Wilder versus Fury 3 again. It's come back round. So if the rumors and whispers are coming out of Wilder being the perfect opponent, now it's come out, he's the perfect opponent for Tyson Fury. I mean, if he's a perfect opponent for Tyson Fury, this is in a post by Bob Arum. He's a perfect opponent. Are they starting to set the excuses up now for Wilder versus Fury 3? And think about this again. We still have heard nothing about Joyce versus Usyk. And there's no way Usyk's going to take a fight against Joe Joyce when there's a possibility or there's rumors coming around that, hey, that Joshua fight might not happen with Fury. And guess what? Hold tight. You may get a title shot because you're mandatory now. So just hold tight. Wait a moment. Don't take the fight against Joyce. Wait a moment. See what's going on here. And if that's what's been said along the lines, that's why Prayer had no movement with Joyce and Usyk. Just think about it for a second. Think about it for a second. No movement with Joyce and Usyk. No movement with Fury and Joshua. It logistically cannot make sense for Joshua to go into the biggest fight of his career without Rob McCracken because there's the Olympics. Okay, you want to have to fight in Saudi Arabia, but then you turn around telling people as well that you're telling people as well that you want the fight at Wembley. The biggest fight in British boxing history. And you can't get it at Wembley. You can't get it at Wembley. You got to get it in Saudi Arabia. The biggest promoter or the best promoter in Britain, or somebody say the best promoter in the world, can't get it in Britain. So, all these people want to detract Deontay Wilder. All these people want to detract Deontay Wilder. Ask you one question. Why is the man still in arbitration and we're going to May? You have Arum, you have Warren, you have Hearn, three of the most powerful men in boxing. If they could knock it on the head, these guys all want money and they could push Wilder to one side. They damn well would, believe you me. But why is it they can't get it going? That's what I want to know. Of course, something's not right. Something clearly is not right. But so I don't want to keep going on about it. It's just something to think about. That's all. If there's an announcement between Fury and Joshua now, great, fantastic. But like I said a long time ago, let's get this Deontay Wilder thing put to bed once and for all. I don't want to hear about Fury and Joshua until this Wilder situation is put to bed once and for all. But man is posting about an eye for an eye. So there's something going on. I don't know what. But if you're legally bound to not talk about certain things, you could speak in code. An eye for an eye. I hope it ain't true. These two have slowed down the division, Mr. T. We were always looking at Fury Wilder Fury or Wilder Fury 3. Hearn did the fake I have a venue to make himself look good. Typical lying Eddie with a non-binding contract. LOL. Wilder could be cloud chasing as usual. Yes, bro, says PG London. Good to see you, brother. Wilder don't cloud chase. It ain't in his character. AJ, Fury and AJ cloud chase. What you see is what you get with Wilder, and that ain't for sale. Wilder bit his name of cloud chasing. Really. His name was built of knocking people out. Facts. Wilder is a king of twerking. Yeah, great. Built his name of knocking over taxi drivers. Yeah, okay, great. Wilder got some common sense at last. Thank you. What is your comment on Fury kissing men or AJ sitting in jacuzzi full of men or getting his nail painted smiling for the camera? Your thoughts? Dropped by Dustin Nichols, aka Butterbean Brother. Yeah, I'm sure you're very funny. Joyce, Usyk and Joyce gets announced. Fury AJ's happening. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, if that's right. If Usyk and Joyce gets announced, then Joshua Fury is happening. I think that's a good sign. That's a good indicator. Because you know that Usyk's been pushing for this mandatory spot, and he was saying he wanted to fight Joshua next. But personally, I think if he fights Joyce, he gets smashed to bits. I've said it 1,000 times. He gets smashed to bits. But we have to wait and see. I just don't see where he gets the power to stop Joyce, and I just don't see where he can run for 12 rounds. And he hasn't looked sensational in his fights. All the things that I've been saying, John Fury said the same thing too. Tyson Fury said the same thing. So it's okay. When I say it's garbage, when they say, well, you praise them. Dean says something is fishy. Alexander Hughes says, you troll man, a weird man, like you never spoke to a girl in your lives. Wildest focus, there's going to be a lot of salty AJ Fury fans, of course. Deshaun Tom says, BOB got all the jokes in the world, but still ain't got one fact. I know. Fury's in Vegas for a reason. LOL. He's in Vegas for a reason. But you just wonder, don't you? Beyonce twerking. What other names are there? We need some new stuff. The same old, same old. Hey, I know. The guy has emojis, but jokes, but are meant to be funny. But this man saying primary playground stuff. Who are these people? Yeah, they are illiterates. You know they are illiterates. And Wilder said revenge. Enough said. This is what I'm saying. If Wilder said revenge in that post, you know, so are we looking at Wilder Fury 3? Is he letting us know something? Wilder won't fight Fury. Really? Oh, by the way, Fury said he would never fight in England again. Yet, he was talking about fighting in England against Joshua. Okay. Moving on. The Wilder Fury fight is on the wall. Has been the whole time. All these people that listen to Eddie Hearn without questioning are the same kind of man who get girls who are cheating on them on the rags. Listen, the fact of the matter is, a snake will always be a snake. And that's what it is. Wilder 1000% will fight Fury. Fury owes Bob, and Bob will collect. Wilder fought Fury twice, though. Shake my head. He did. There is always a third fight. And, you know, if Wilder were to pull out the right hand out of nowhere, and he's got the right hand, it's not like he can't knock Fury down. People talk like he can't knock Fury down. He knocked Fury down twice in the first fight. In the second fight, we all know what happened. But that doesn't mean he can't land that right hand. A fully focused, clear-headed, balanced Wilder. That guy in the second fight, his balance was all over the place from round one. Right? And that's clear to see from anybody who's seen Deontay Wilder fight. That's not making excuses. That's a fact. And another thing I want to mention before this Fury Joshua thing, I want to talk about, are we getting the best of Fury versus Joshua? Because if we were to make this fight, get this fight signed and over the line, Fury hasn't fought for how long? And Joshua goes into the fight without McCracken. Is that the best fight we possibly could have? Are those guys going to be at their very best? Just a question I'm asking. Frank said Eddie said a non-binding contract. You couldn't make it up. After all the hype around Fury versus AJ, do you think Wilder versus Fury is announced that it would hurt the pay-per-view numbers or increase them? At this point, I think people are sick and tired of this head about AJ Fury, nothing happening. People just want a big fight to talk about, and it's a contentious fight. There are people that believe that Tyson Fury damn well cheated. There are other people think that Wilder's a very crazy man, a conspiracy theorist, right? There are people that are, that think that Tyson Fury is the best thing since sliced bread, and this is a way for him to solidify that legacy. There are others that would love to see Deontay Wilder come back after losing. When Joshua lost the titles, he came back and he became champion. Can Deontay Wilder come back and become champion? With a change of trainer, we talked about Malik Scott. I talked about saying Malik Scott would become the new trainer. Who do we see in the picture? Malik Scott. So, what has Deontay Wilder been working on? Has he been improving his technique? Can he improve his technique? If he's able to make some adjustments and fight Fury in a rematch and land that right hand cleanly, anything's possible. You talk about the most deadliest puncher in heavyweight boxing. Team Fury and AJ are going at it tit for tat in the media to try and shake blame when the news is official. Arbitration, simples. Well, I keep talking about arbitration. And as far as Bob Arum put it, he says, nothing, we will not know until, I think he said May, end of April, early May, that we'll know what was going on. So where this announcement is coming from, I don't know. Now it depends on what country you're in. Wilder's got his skull fractured. I don't think he wants it. Eddie wants to turn around and say, we sent a contract and they ducked it. If AJ did not get his rematch, Hearn would have passed away. Listen, I don't care. The matchroom should be never forgiven for messing up Wilder versus Joshua. That was for undisputed. They should never be forgiven for that. They've messed that up and messed up so many fighters. Oh, Eddie Hearn hate coming out now. He promotes Joshua. I know he's daddy boy, but let's just all these people get on with it so we all enjoy team boxing. Malik Scott might need a good trainer. People might be a good trainer. People need to chill. It's not hate for Eddie Hearn. It's just listen. The way I was brought up is that we know right from wrong. Right? Eddie Hearn, the way people talk about Hearn, they will allow Hearn to break into. Hearn's the kind of guy that will break into your house, screw your wife, walk out, and people will clap and applaud that and say he's fine. There's nothing wrong with him. It's unbelievable the amount of blindness that goes with what he does. It's unreal, really is. I don't understand why it's like that. I still don't understand why it's like that. It makes no sense to me. Um, you know, he's just a man, but this worship with him is just unbelievable. It's unnecessary. When the man's right and he does a good promotion, he's a promoter. Great. When the man doesn't do good, fine. You tell him, but these people, it's like it's so far at Hearn's eyes. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. Do you know what I mean? But I just see through the BS. That's all. I want to see when it comes to promoter what you do for your fighters, how you promote fights, how loyal you are to your fighters. These are the things that I want to look at as a promoter, looking at promoters. What you do with your fighter, not what you say you do, but what you actually do. But yeah, that's it really. If Wilder versus Fury gets announced, don't say I didn't tell you so. It's no surprise whatsoever, to be honest. You know, and Usyk versus Joshua, that would make sense. Joshua serves as mandatory. Fury cleans up business with Wilder, and if that happens, then you've got an even bigger fight. Joshua beating Usyk, Fury closing a chapter on Deontay Wilder, and you've really got a super fight for some time. End of the year, early next year, January, and maybe by then, COVID, and there would be more situations where maybe there'll be more venues available and all the rest of it. I don't know. But it seems sense that way. Might not be what AJ Fury fans want to hear, but that seems interesting enough. So easy for AJ to say, Vegas, me and you, Wilder. Simple as that. It's the only venue that counts. He never did, but he was scouting there to rematch Vlad. Let that sink in. December 2021. Get ready. Andrews beats Joshua 1-1. Yeah, that's still a fight to see as well. Right. Let me get out of here. I hope you all I've enjoyed the show. Drew should fight Wilder. Why? Why? When he's got a binding contract with Fury. Why? And a chance to win his belt back. Why would he fight Ruiz just like that for no belt? Have you no business sense? I'm out of here. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been BWTM Sports in Gaming. Like, subscribe, share. I'm out. Have a good evening.